You're listening to the Daily Sales Tips podcast, and I'm your host, Scott Ingram. It's Thanksgiving here in the U.S. today, and let me start by simply saying thank you. I'm so grateful that you listen to this show. Your listening makes it all worth it, and I appreciate you every time you do. Now, I had planned to talk about traditions in this tip, how they're not only important for our families, but also for our teams. Turns out, creating these traditions might be easier than you think. In fact, they might already exist. It might be as simple as looking back to see what's happened in the past. In the case of these Thanksgiving tips, turns out there are already a couple of traditions because I just went back and listened to my previous tips. You'll find them in episodes 313 and 677. First, the Thanksgiving tips always come directly from me, and the most important element is my thanking you. Thanksgiving is probably my favorite holiday, and it's important to me that I get to speak to you directly and express my gratitude. Interestingly, I've also always offered to give away 5 copies of the First Sales Success Stories book in these previous tips. So let's continue that tradition as well. If you're one of the first 5 people to email me at scott@top1.fm, I'll be glad to send you a copy of the book. See how easy that was? If you want to go a little bit deeper, you can go back to my first Thanksgiving tip, number 313, and hear about some of my own family traditions. When it comes to football, it seems that very little has changed. In fact, I'm not sure this will become a new tradition or not, but I'm going to share my own thoughts through the rest of the long weekend. I've got a few things that are on my mind, and even though I haven't checked to confirm, I'm guessing that listenership drops just a bit during this period. So I'll save the primo spots for my guests, and I'll leave you with this. Think about your own traditions, whether family traditions or traditions with your team. Personally, I think they're pretty important. For my American friends, happy Thanksgiving, and I'll be back tomorrow with another sales tip for you. Thanks for listening. Oh, and I'll have links to the other Thanksgiving tips for you at DailySales.Tips /1041.